I think it's time for me to save the day. Grace. Y'all know what it is.
All right, we're bringing on NERDSoul to host this panel. He's a big-time streamer, amazing content. I've collabed with this guy several times. I love his opinion on things. Even when I disagree with him, he comes at it from a super dope angle. So nothing but respect. I'm gonna let NERDSoul take over.
Oh man, yo, what's up? What's up? Happy FSK Day to everyone. Y'all here getting in them good indie comic books, having a wonderful time. And we gonna break down the next panel for y'all. Of course, I'm your moderator, host NERDSoul, NERDSoul. Holla at your boy. But we ain't alone, all right? We not only with FSK, but we got some dope panelists coming through for you, all right? You know what I'm saying? Do not sleep. We got Tessa Wiseman, Midoriya Hana, Moana McAdams. We got Vicinia Designs. We got tons of dope folks rolling through. I see Amani Latif up in here, yo. What up? So we got some good stuff going on. And this panel, of course, is streamers and online communities. Everybody, welcome. Glad to see y'all sunshiny faces. I'm gonna start off with Moana. Say what's up.
Hey, what's up, family? It's good to be here. Second panel of the day for me. Shout out from the Moana Nui podcast. We stream on Thursdays at 7 and 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's good to see everybody.
All right, Imani, what's up?
Yo, this is Imani Latif. I'm the host of Black Comics Universe, and I'm happy to be here checking out FSK Day.
All right. In the bottom square, last but not least, Danny. Is that Danny Street or just Danny?
It ain't Danny. It's definitely Marley.
Why y'all put Danny on the screen though? Why y'all do that? Come on now.
I don't know. He looking like he want to say something right now.
Oh man. So
But what's up, guys?
go on and introduce yourself, sorry.
What's up, guys? My name is Moana Lay. I do have a new podcast called Black Girl Nerdy World, all things gaming, anime, cosplay, and comics. And I'm just doing today. Today's amazing. I'm happy to be here. And yeah.
Hi, my name is Kalala, and I'm a VTuber on Twitch, on twitch.tv/Kalala. I do a variety of games and art all the time. And I'm also the director for Agents of Nerd. And intern at Freestyle Komics. That's a new role. Yeah.
All right.
And I forgot, I do cosplay as Vigilance too. I've been doing it since 2009. And we are about to change Danny out so that way we can put our names in here.
Yes. And real quick for you guys, your volume is low. So, you know, as far as your microphone, so, you know what I'm saying, just bring yourself up some, or, you know, speak loud or whatever y'all got to do so they can hear you wonderfully. I want to start off with, since this is called taking a look at careers in streaming, how creators are making it work, do you, and I'll start off with Moana, do you feel like you're making it work?
That's a great question, because like with everything that's online, it's can be a struggle to find your audience and get folks to actually see all of the great content that you put forward. So, um, I would say yes, it is working, but with anything else, there's always room for improvement. So, um, because I'm also a creator, and a publisher and doing all these other things, I don't have all the time to learn all the tips and tricks of the different platforms like Twitch, and all those things. But um, for me, there is another component where like I just want to create quality content, and even if it's not hitting, getting wide audience right now, it's something that I can build and use the content later for other purposes as well.
All right. Imani?
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat. First and foremost, I enjoy having the conversations. So I'm just sort of like, enjoying the moment, staying in the moment. There might have been a time where I've tried to chase, numbers or, try to have a huge audience right off the top and all that kind of stuff. But this time around with my particular program right now, Black Comics Universe, I'm sort of like, taking my time with it. I'm building, and I have some targets and some goals that I'm trying to reach, but I'm being far more patient with myself as to, how this thing is going to grow, and just being realistic with it. So as far as it being a success, it's like I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. So in that regard, it's been a huge success.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Now down in the bottom right hand corner. I mean, for me, left hand for y'all. I'm not sure, but Mahanale, you?
Yes. So name pronounced is Maanale.
Oh,
like
Mahanale. Excuse me. I ain't trying to.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a hard name. I get it all the time, so I'm used to it. No worries. Maanale is my name. So thank you. For me, I have been doing a lot of streaming with other people's platforms, and I'm learning so much with interacting with other people's audiences, and finding out my niche with the Black Girl Nerdy World. It's pretty broad, so I feel like being able to connect with other people's audiences is really a way to be able to build your audience, and also engaging with the audiences and asking questions and doing trivia seems to kind of bring them back because they feel like they're invested, and I feel like they get a sense of I feel like I'm a part of the show.
Okay, and Kalala?
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah, you said that right. So I actually started streaming to use it as a hobby because I'm a full-time artist and I was getting stressed out by chasing numbers for art. And then I was just like, streaming looks like fun after I saw Mike and ID do it. And I started streaming, and then like many of us, I started taking it more seriously. So I just started adding like more additions and like just working harder for like the way it looked and then the way it ran and everything. And then people just come like it's slow. Like I'm a small community, but like people come for you and then they stay for you, and then you make a community in the larger like time frame. So
all right, and I guess to throw out to anyone in the panel, we brought up building communities and just speaking about community in general. Do you think community is something that you actually that you're actively generating and making, or something that kind of just evolves by word of mouth? How does it seem to be working out for you, when you're kind of just like day by day seeing the numbers grow?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like you'll have your authentic audience naturally because you're working with the social media platform, and then when you start putting it on certain platforms such as like Twitch or Anchor or even Fanbase, a lot of people are just looking for something, looking for your voice, looking for your sound, so it eventually start adding from that. But you have to put yourself out there. You can't just keep yourself on one network, which is why I agree with you. Will start out with your original friends and family that'll listen to you. But once you put it out there on different platforms, people will look, people will search, and if you've got a good name or if you've got a good genre, like for me, I have almost all the genres, so a lot of people are waiting and like, we're waiting for this. Like, I'm beefing it up for you guys, you know. So that's how I feel about it.
For me, it's like making other friends that stream. It's kind of like work in a way where it's just like if you're willing to be genuine and not just be like there for the money or whatever, you're actually trying to have friends. For me, that's how I've gotten my community. And I know that sounds weird, but like meeting other people that I like stream and then just vibing in their streams, and then their community like talks to me and they're just like, oh, I like this Koala girl. I'll like stop by her and then come and you're just a part of it.
All right. Anyone else want to pick that up?
Yeah, it was weird. It's like like someone had mentioned before. It's like I haven't been necessarily chasing numbers in terms of how big the community is and stuff like that. I'm starting over time. I've been adding different elements like newsletters and things like that to the program that I do. But I just had an interesting conversation not too long ago, though, that a friend of mine that I've been streaming with for a while, done a couple of interviews with, he just called me out of the blue. He does shows down in Florida, and name is Marcus Roberts, and from Second Sight Publishing. And we talk a lot about Black comic book history on my program. And he was doing this a random show in Florida. He said he wasn't making much money, not a lot of traffic, and like somebody walked up to him and said, so are you that Marcus Roberts guy? And he's like, yeah. I said, well, yeah, I know you because whenever I see you and Imani Latif are on talking about Black comics and history, I put it up on my television and have me and my sons, we sit and watch it, and it's like that's the type of impact that numbers don't necessarily show you, but it's sort of like when I heard that, it's sort of like, okay, I'm making an impact here, and it's like it might not seem like a ton of people are watching at a particular time, but at the same time, it does feel like the right people see what I'm doing. So it's just a matter of being consistent and building that content, and that it sort of like leads to success over time.
Word. Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I was just saying, I think that's true. I found that true in my own, efforts as well. I built mine more so like I started mine during, the pandemic, right? So for me, it was like really the community driven one, because I really wanted to kind of reconnect, right? Because we weren't able to see both our, people who follow our properties, our fans, or the fellow creators, that are active in this community, which is a big part of, especially the independent community. So that was like part of the driver for mine too. And I like streaming because like it's a creative way for us as creators, authors, writers, artists to build interest to those who you typically wouldn't see at a convention, for the comics aspect, but it just helps you open it to audiences who probably should be looking at it, but they just don't know about it, right? So that's a good part of it as well. And then with mine, we started to do creator like one-on-one interviews, I think very similar to Imani. But what we've also found is that sometimes the listener, well, we like to listen to like the people who are watching, obviously, if we can find other ways to serve, their needs as well. So we started doing like a monthly mental health topic where we have a licensed therapist come on and we talk about.
Oh no.
About difficult topics, that depression, all of these issues that people face, and try to like bring another additional aspect to the show, and then also further expand the audience that way. Yeah.
All right, and we've kind of got into that journey where you're kind of like, oh, let me see what this is like, and then it starts to build into something else. When I guess starting off, I'll say starting off with Kalala this time. When it's starting to build into something else, is that something that you embrace? Is that something that you try to like guard against? Like, no, I was intentionally trying to make this thing, or when it starts to evolve, do you just kind of like let it breathe and grow?
For me, so like I said, I started trying to make it as a hobby and stuff, and then it started growing. I was just like, I could actually do this. So I kind of just let it grow, and I'm kind of just letting it evolve because, like, I was just a game streamer, and then I started adding art into it because of what people like, and then I started adding like podcasts to the game. So I'm just letting it kind of evolve. But we'll see in the future. Like, this might be too much. I want to go back to being a hobby.
Anyone else about that transition period? Like, are you? Is anyone like, hey, I have a specific mission on my mind, or is it kind of like wherever this journey takes me?
I like to say for me, because I'm starting out, I'm kind of in the beginning stages of my podcast. It's working and it's changing when I'm doing interviews, when I'm gaming and streaming, and naturally I want to keep it in a certain bubble of things. But as you learn, people are like coming from the pandemic. They've been, looking for something to get into, and so you're starting to hear different people's perspectives, and it definitely morphs and changes as you're talking to your audience, as you're engaging with your audience. And for me, I'm kind of a control freak with that. I'm like, I don't want it to change, but I feel like it's starting to morph into something different than what I initially wanted it to be. So for me, it's kind of hard for change starting out, and I'm hoping that I can grow with the flow.
Okay.
Like, if it's changing and you're running the like podcaster, your stream, as long as you're having fun, then let it roll. Like, the moment you start getting comfortable, that's when you have to like go back and just like, because you don't want to burn yourself out.
That's a good point.
All right, Imani.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, what I'm doing now, the program that I'm doing now, is sort of actually in the evolution of what I was doing. I'm still doing as far as Peep Game Comics, where I sell, black comic, independent black comics. So this program was sort of a way to serve that community. And so what I'm starting to see is sort of like the next evolution of this will be a continuation of serving that community and being an advocate for that community. So what I'm enjoying is that this is definitely leading me to a product or to a platform that can actually, serve that community better. So I'm actually excited about, the program changing or evolving in that fashion. That's what it seems like it's been doing all along. So that's what I actually look forward to.
All right.
Yeah, and I'll build on what Imani said, because like for mine, building the community is and serving the community is a big part of mine too. He mentions Black indie comic creators, and for me, I'm always advocating for Pacific Islanders because you don't see them. You really don't, outside of The Rock and Jason Momoa. Thankfully they're there so that like people know what the heck Pacific Islanders are. But other than that, like, it's really hard to see them. So that was like the main focus that I wanted to do. And so for this past year, Dana and I, for Asian American Pacific Islander Month, we like put together a whole month of content specifically focused on issues that have to do with that community, whether it's from a historical perspective or some of the current challenges that we deal with today. And we actually got a lot of good response about it. We had some amazing guests that I never would have thought we had. Like, we had Perry Young from the Warrior series on HBO Max. We had a couple, Alan Z and Jason Chu, who are Asian American hip hop artists. Just some really, really great people and panels. And we even got what you call a corporate sponsorship out of that too. So that was awesome. Yeah.
Dope. So when doing these streams, when building your communities, when kind of like going through your motions, whether it's kind of like going from a hobby into work or becoming grueling at sometimes, how much of representation is on your mind when you're doing it? When whether you're building your community or whether you're just streaming about a certain TV show or a comic book, how much of that goes into making sure that you're seen or someone who looks like you is seen?
That's been like the whole focus of what I do. It just so happens that, for instance, my program streams on another network called The Experience. And on that network, primarily most of the programming is about comic shops selling books and like your typical, books that come out of, the big two and things like that. But my program like specifically focuses on African-American comic books and comic book creators. And it was interesting. There was a time where I thought maybe this program might evolve into a more diverse program or things like that. And so I might have to change up the name and all this kind of stuff. And then, what I've noticed is a couple of things. One, the more I look into the history of comics and I see the number of Black comic book creators that go unmentioned, there's still a ton of ground to cover in terms of Black comics, number one. And number two, every time I think that society or publishers or whoever, might be the quote unquote powers that be have it figured out and they're finally getting the picture and are finally more diverse and including folks, it's like just as soon as they get one right, they get 10 others wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's like they take 2 steps forward and then 10 steps back. And as soon as I think I can let my foot off the gas, in that sense, immediately I start thinking, nope, I still got to stick around, because it feels like if I don't, really commit to this, these other publishers, they might, they're fair weather friends, that type of thing. So, so there have been times where I thought I should, I can bring, broaden this thing. It doesn't have to be so, laser focused. And I can imagine I will, be I'm always open to a lot of different discussions, but at the same time, I know that my community in that regard needs my help and what I provide a lot. So.
All right. Anyone else?
All right. I'll go first.
Go ahead.
So it's really important for my community to be like very welcoming and like seeing like women and all types of women, not just like the picturesque ones, but also the picturesque ones as well, because it's just like we need both, because all of us is both. And then I actually think this question is a little funny, because last month I had to actually tell someone that was a pretty big supporter for a while. They like dissed like neurodivergent people, and was just anti-women. And I had to tell them, I was just like, my content isn't for you. Like, I appreciate your time that you spent here, but it's not for you. Like, I cannot have you here, basically. And so representation is really important for me, because I want to show all types of artists and all types of, like, not just artists, creatives. I don't know why I say artists, but like any creative.
Yeah. For me, my culture is nerddom, period. I have experts that are either like tech gurus or comic creators. So it doesn't just encompass, just being Black. I want to experience getting back into the journey of nerddom, and you going with me. I'm getting back into it from being a child, and it's people following my journey in this, and you learning so much. So it's not just open to just Black women, even in comics or in anime. It's everyone. And I kind of want to be able to gravitate to an audience that want to get back into it and just don't know how, or don't know what type of tech to get, or what type of comics to start out with, or what type of animes they could learn. So my culture is just the nerdum of being geeking, so that's how mine's is.
Right?
Yeah, and I would say that like mine is open, but not everybody really. I mean, everybody can enjoy the content, but like my focus in terms of like the guests that I bring on is the BIPOC community, which is the Black, Indigenous peoples of color. And the reason I don't do that to be exclusive to anyone else, but the way I kind of view it is like from like a resource perspective, right? We have all these other resources that are focused on this specific demographic. They don't need my help. Like the people who need my help, they don't have resources. So if I'm going to be expending the limited resources that I have, I want to impact my people and the people that need it. That's kind of my take on it. So it's focused, but it's not in coming from a bad place at all. It's just really trying to help those who don't have.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and going off of a point Kalala made with the subscriber or the follower that you had, when it comes to our communities, we generally, due to either what the community we're trying to serve or represent, or just who we represent when you see us at that face value, there could be feathers ruffled, if you will, at times when people see you, kind of like in your space. For instance, I remember when I first started sharing my content, when I might have been doing it for a month at that time. And someone that I know said when they first saw my video, they thought out loud, who does he think he is? And that kind of stuff kind of comes up to you, or people might be, you think that they're down with your content. You're like, hey, well, if you're like this and you're not even open to a discussion about this really isn't for you. I don't even know how you got here. When it comes to our communities, are we on this panel kind of keeping an eye on them? Are we actively policing them? Are we trying to maneuver them in ways where if they aren't enlightened, we try to enlighten, or are we just like, no, you out? Or how do we feel about, I guess, maturing and growing along with our viewers, followers, subscribers, community, whatever you want to call it?
What I found recently, it really helps to know exactly who you're talking to when you're creating your content. I'm not just, so for instance, recently I've started not just, doing podcasts, but I started writing articles and, posts on my blog posts on my website, specifically for Black comic book collectors, right? So I'm advocating for Black comic book creators, but I've been laser focused on that community because I've been, started to collect more myself. And I belong to a community on Facebook where they've been, sharing books and doing a lot of collecting and things like that and sharing some amazing history, right? So now it feels like when I create my content, I'm actually speaking. I know who I'm talking to. I know I have a purpose as to what, to the information that I'm sharing. And I'm far more focused on my audience's needs in that regard. It's sort of like I'm not, so it doesn't, so I'm not so much concerned about, the random person coming across my content and getting offended or feeling some sort of way one way or another. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like, as long as the people that I'm actually literally trying to impress, this group of people, it's like, as long as I'm impressing and impacting on them, I'm good, I think what happens is sometimes we get into this space and, we cast such a wide net that we end up catching some fools that we just didn't know we were targeting with our information. It was just like, because we're so broad, it's sort of like it's like it's sort of like if I'm talking about because my audience is so niche, there's some times where I get to avoid some of the bloodier conversations if I'm just talking about a general X-Men title. That I would, I'm going to get a ton of fans that's going to have any number of different opinions. But if I'm talking about, something as obscure as Midnight Tales #1 or something like that, I'm a very narrow audience, and I'm laser focused on them and what their interests are.
Yeah, and I think I would say that, like, I mean, to a degree, you kind of pay attention to it, but like, if the concern is like having to deal with someone who doesn't align with, your perspective or whatever that is, then the internet is probably not even the place for you to be, because there's always going to be someone who has something to say. And for me, the way I look at it is like, yes, it used to bother me more before. I'm not saying that this doesn't happen, but the way I kind of look at it now is that, like, I only have so much time in a day. My time is better spent focusing on like what I'm trying to accomplish than arguing with those who are not aligned to me. Because there's always going to be someone, and you know what? Sometimes it's cool, because if you don't like what I'm talking about and you're upset about it, you're talking about what I'm talking about. And thank you for helping me to build the audience. That's kind of how I look at it. So.
I agree. I was going to say that exactly. If you're not ready to have the world look at you and scrutinize you or even praise you, don't put it online, because right now everyone's online, TikTok, everything. People want to have their opinion, and in today's age, everyone is sensitive about everything you talk about. So being prepared to, like you said, if you like it and it's going in the way that you want and you're having fun, do that. But I feel like you should be able to control your page. If someone's on there disrespecting someone, disrespecting your crew that's on there, your guests, your audience, you want to make sure your audience know that you care about them and you're checking them, even if it's just in a chat privately, or if it's, hey, we're not going to disrespect anyone. We're going to be here to respect everyone. It's all love. It's all art. It's all unity. Everyone has their niches. For me, mine's is pretty broad, and I feel like it's definitely going to tailor along the way, but I'm open to it. I'm ready. I'm like, hey, I got my Venom hat on. We can go.
With me, it's like I get really shy when it comes to like, because I want everyone happy. So I get a little nervous when people, like, I have to put my foot down, but I know it's important to, because with like the community I'm trying to like build is like, and I know people hate this word, but I'm trying to make like a safe space in a way where it's just like, I want debates and stuff. Like, I want to like have actual conversations. But if you're just here to be mad that someone is being successful that you don't like, or one of my friends that you don't like how they're built or something, then I don't want you here. Like, if you're not an ally in the grand scheme of things, like, I'm going to have to put my foot down, because if you're going to basically be like the rotten apple that makes the whole barrel rotten.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and you can kind of see well, maybe not initially, but after a couple of exchanges, you can figure out, is this a genuine debate? Is this someone who genuinely has a difference of opinion? Or is this someone who's trying to get a rise out of you, that's trying to just start a fight for the sake of starting it? And I will say, in my live streams, because I live stream like every weekend, I am a quiet banner. I will be I won't even reference your comment. I'll see it come up, ban, and I'll keep on. Because people will come in and say like something about this community or that community, or they're glad that the police did this or whatever, and I'll just be like, ban, and I'll just keep on rolling. I won't even like ban, still talking. So that's kind of how I roll with it. I won't even acknowledge it. Unless it's like crazy egregious and people have already started responding to it because I didn't see it. But if I see it before I think anyone else has seen it, like if the comment just comes up, I'll be like, nope, you out.
like what you're saying, you can kind of tell by their comment, like, what type of person they are. Because, like, I have a kid and he's a teenager that doesn't know much, and he said something misogynistic one day, and I was like, it's a little misogynistic. And he actually was curious, because it's like, I don't know why, like, why, explain it. And I was, like, comfortable to explain why, like, that could come off badly, even though I knew he didn't mean it badly. And then the other person, I could tell when we started having a conversation. I won't talk about what it was, but it was something that happened in the news. And I could tell he was just like, I'm right. Like, whatever you say, you're wrong. Like, you're just brainwashed or whatever. Because they love to say that. So it's like, there's no conversation with you. So this is over. Like,
Yeah, I can see that being a real issue. Now, to switch up real quick, we all stream. I wanted to take it to a level of like tech and some fun because since we do stream, we all have our different versions of tech what we like to play with, and there might be someone who's like, hey, like I'm looking to move or change this or add that on. I guess I'll start with Amani. What's some favorite tech of yours that you use to stream? Like, what's something that you're like, man, I'm so glad that I bought this, or something of that nature.
It seems like a small issue, but I'm glad I have my own studio. This is not in my house. I have a studio downtown Toledo, Ohio. I have my own internet connection, so I'm the only one streaming on this. At any given time, I'm not sharing it with my kids or somebody on a game somewhere. I'm not in my house because and I had to get this studio because during the pandemic I was teaching comic book classes and I was streaming classes and teaching kids, and so I needed a space outside of the house. So now that I have this space, I'm actually really appreciative that I have so my favorite tech is technically having a solid Wi-Fi connection and everything else is pretty low tech. I got a webcam and I got this one of them snowball microphones on the arm.
Okay.
I mean, that's what's so great about technology now. Everything else is pretty cheap and pretty straightforward. So, but being able to do cool stuff with my background and everything. So I'm probably that's been the biggest investment of mine. It's been my actual studio.
All right.
hi, Shinobi.
Oh man, this dope. So Moana?
I would say, I mean, like, yeah, you don't need a ton to stream, right? Like, I have seen some people like, oh, I gotta have all the best gear before I can stream. Like, no,
Right.
like Imani said, like solid internet connection, a good mic, which you can get. Like, there's a lot of different options out there. I think the mic is more important than the video, I would say. I mean, if you're streaming, maybe that's not the case. But for me, I look at it kind of from a podcaster perspective. So the audio is the most important. And I created like where I stream from is my office in our house. Like my husband, we both kind of stream, so he has his space that he decorates according to like what he wants. And then like I have my own space. So there's some things that I want to do for like mobile setups because Dana and I have been going to cons, and interviewing some guests at cons. So I picked up the Rode wireless mics. I haven't tested them out yet, but I was watching on YouTube like different reviews and stuff, and it has a really good quality sound from like as far as like 200 feet. So if you have a guest that's with you, you can just hook up, like the wireless hookup, and then have the mic be great. Then that's awesome because when we were at Ranger Stop and Pop in Atlanta, we had to like pass the mic back and forth, and I was like, oh, this feels so like 1990s. I don't know. But yeah, so I picked that up. That's my purchase. And then there's one other thing, the YOLO box, something that like you can plug multiple devices in and be able to like, kind of switch screens on the road. That's like something.
Uh-oh.
Oh
She'll
no.
be back. She'll be back.
Come back.
And I'm looking to invest into, but no.
Cool.
You're back.
We missed a little bit, but we good.
Okay.
we
What
good.
happened?
We back.
The dang
We
internet.
connected.
Exactly.
All right. My honor.
What I tell you, that internet boy, that's up to say.
For me, I love tech. Oh my goodness. So
She does.
I do. So I have the iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's super dope. I actually, you were speaking about mobile. My friend will kick my butt if I do this, but I'm all love for telling this. There's this thing called the Switcher app. And what that app does, it allows you to be your own mobile podcast. So you can actually send a link to somebody and they can come onto your podcast and you don't have to be in the same space. Or it'll allow you to be able to be in the same space with that person. You can utilize any cell phone device as a camera, and you can have multiple cameras. And what it will do is you have to be on the same Wi-Fi for it to work. And what will happen is it'll be in the Switcher app. You'll have a commander. So I have my iPad that I use to be able to be like my control center. Then I use my iPhone 13. I use my iPhone 11. I use my iPhone 7. And those are different angles that I utilize. And then I can also utilize your phone with the I can send you a link and your phone becomes a camera for my podcast. And there's something super sweet in the Switcher app to where you don't have to like have it just stationary. Every 5, 10, 15 seconds, it'll switch out those cameras. So you'll see different viewpoints. It's so dope. So I love that software as a live stream. You can post it on Twitch. You can post it on Facebook Live. You can post it on YouTube. It has all that integrated into it. And so that's what I love. The Jewel mic is one of my favorites because you can plug it into your phone. You use an adapter, plug it into your phone, and you can record on your phone. And then you can post it on Anchor or your fan base. Another thing that I like is I'm an iPhone person, so I have iPhone everything, Apple everything. So that's probably one of my most expensive techs. But I love the streaming of the PS5 for anybody who's gaming. I have the PS5, and I utilize my phone also with the Switcher app with my PS5 to do all of those different amazing angles while I'm kicking some butt on Mortal Kombat.
I know that's
All
right.
right. Now, first thing I have to represent for my PC gamers. PC gamers represent. We're here. We're going to represent. Also, if you ever want to step into the PC realm, there will be crossplay hopefully next year. For Guilty Gear, holla at your boy. You know what I'm saying? If because that Strive, I don't play. But for me, it'd have to be probably my laptop because I needed to be mobile, but I wanted to have a beast. So I had to, I dug deep, but I got a beast, and now I handle things a lot quicker and easier. It kind of hit me deep, but that's probably my favorite thing because now I can connect everything to it. It's super crazy fast, and I don't have to worry about anything else. So that's my thing. But that app, look, you gotta because that app,
$40 a month, it gets you.
I'm not gonna sleep on that.
I'm telling you.
We gotta get here. I need some skills on that. But
Right. Tutorial.
yes, I'm like,
and you can take it anywhere.
I'm like, it goes through all the different cameras. Oh, this is sweet.
Yeah, and
right.
your guest camera too. They become a camera on your podcast as well.
Yeah.
So it's not just yours. So if you got only one camera and your guest is their camera can become an extra camera for you, and you can take it anywhere as long as you have. I have a hotspot, so I use that when I go into sit down and go play games like Magic the Gathering, and so I use the hotspot, and they're all connected. I have my iPad. It's the best app out there. My friend was going to kill me because low key that's like a slip info for podcasters that want to do it mobily.
Right.
That sounds like the hotness. So, so real quick, I know we're coming,
He's got
you know,
hers. You
coming.
skipped me.
Oh, sorry. I thought you went. My bad.
It's okay. Well, first off, I just wanted to say that like you don't need much to stream. So if you're wanting to stream, just stream because I know a girl. Shout out to Libra. She got like 600 followers, and she used a crappy MacBook that had terrible audio for like 3 months, and she's finally upgrading now.
You ain't have to
So
put
like,
her out there like
look,
that.
Shout out to
no,
Libra.
she'll say it. She knows. She just now got a computer, and it's like way better. But she made her streams really entertaining with the what she had. But the stuff that I use that I like would recommend is like 2 monitors, preferably a curved one, at least one, because it helps with your eyes, especially if you're going to be working on your computer all the time like we do.
That part.
And then an Elgato Stream Deck,
Ooh.
especially if you're a VTuber. And I know none of us is, but like if anyone's watching that wants to be a VTuber, it helps. Stream Deck's like basically you can make it a soundboard, you can make it to open your apps, so like you don't have to search your computer all the time, or like you can do like a bunch of commands in it. It's really cool. So that, and then like this is kind of tech, Nightbot for Twitch users.
Yeah.
Nightbot saved my life so many times because you don't have to worry as much about modding. Like it helps.
Okay. That's different. That's new.
Yeah, that counts. You know, it's software. It counts. It counts.
Mm-hmm.
Free, and you get unlimited stuff for Nightbot.
Word. All right, so I'm gonna go around the horn because start with Moana because I know we have different parts of like geekdom and nerddom that we're like representing. Starting with Moana, what are you reading or watching that kind of has you enthralled right now?
Ooh,
Or listening to?
Robe reading, of course. I have to shout out the FSK universe, Hotshot. I just caught up on. No, but seriously, I mean, I have so many indie books that are like stacking up that I need to read. So I can't really say that I'm reading everything, but seriously, that's the last book I read was Hotshot. Series. Ooh, let's see. What am I watching right now? Well, I'm not currently watching anything right now, but I'm excited for Boba Fett. So let bring on the Boba. Yes.
That's Star Wars right there. That's Star Wars.
Yes.
All right, Imani.
It's been interesting lately. I've started collecting a lot more, and I've started looking into the history of comics. And so, oddly enough, a lot of what I've been reading actually has been, the 80s, coming out of the 80s, the 70s. I've been picking up books, published, early 70s, late 60s and stuff like that. So just the history of comics has been one of the most fascinating things lately. Learning about different, key figures, in comic book history and stuff like that. So that's what I've been on lately.
Okay, moving on, Kalala.
So the thing that I've been kind of obsessed with is this comic on webtoon. It's called Lord Limited, and I don't know if anyone knows that, but it's written by a woman. Which I absolutely love when things like actually take off by women. Like Full Metal Alchemist, my favorite anime, it was written by a woman, and people don't know that. But Lord Limited, she draws everyone's Earth, and it's about Greek mythology and stuff, like which kind of witch hunting in her own way. And like the way she draws women is like there's Hera, which is like she's considered to be beautiful and everything. She's like more typical, like picturesque type of woman. But then there's Persephone, who is like short and kind of like thicker. And she's also called gorgeous all the time, like just as pretty as Hera. Like no one is like put above other women in this, and it's just so nice. because I like that's something that media used to do and still kind of does, put us against each other, and it's just like not enemies. And I like that that's being shown
Yeah.
different things.
Cool.
Oh, Lord, that was the okay. Yeah.
All right.
For me, I know you didn't even want to try it, did you?
I look. I've been down that road. I know better.
Ma'anale. Honestly,
I'll
Moana,
practice in the off time, but I ain't nah.
Yeah, I get a lot that they think my name's Hawaiian, so you gotta
Yes,
name
I
me.
can see that.
But right now, what I'm reading is Miss Marvel, and I'm getting into her because I know Marvel's coming out with her soon on for a series. And then what I am watching, currently re-watching Hawkeye. I watched that this week that came out, and I find a lot of little gold nuggets in rewatching shows. So I'm really excited about this saga coming out and with Hawkeye and to see where it goes. So that's
I'm watching.
Okay. I'm rewatching sort of Voltron randomly every now and then. I guess the newer version, because I know there's been a couple attempts at it, and then the original version. So the newest version on Netflix. Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Prodigy. What else do we got? We got Hawkeye, so I'm watching that. But yes, Boba Fett should be fun. Should be a lot of fun. And that might be it. That might be it. Besides just reading like Bitterroot, they just dropped volume 3. So I caught that.
Nice.
Amazon was wrong how y'all sent it to me. You know what I'm saying? It was bent. But I mean, hey, I'ma read it. I'm just saying, why y'all hating on the books?
That's sacrilege right there.
I'm like, y'all
I think
bent
it was
the book.
Deliverers.
I like to hear that. We got a well-rounded, a diverse array of of items that we are influenced by, which is cool. I know that we coming to a close, so Mr. Watson doesn't get Randy Watson does not like what I'm saying. Randy
Watson.
he don't like it when you mess up his time. But so I'll start with Ma'anole.
Perfect.
You saw how strong and confident that was? So we're gonna start with you. Where can people find you? Your links, I don't know, your email, your blogs, all that.
Absolutely. So for me, it's Black Girl Nerdy World fan page on Facebook, Black Girl Nerdy World on Instagram, and of course my page, me personally, with all of my crazy stuff, _ Queen Waters on Instagram. So thank you so much for having me. So yes, go.
Word. Kalala?
So Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, I am T Kalala. So just add a T at the beginning because Kalala is a camp in a different country that took my name. On Discord, I'm Kalala6079 if you want to add me. I have a Discord server. And then on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/Kalala. Not too hard to remember, but that's it.
Cool. All right, Imani?
You can find me at Black Comics Universe on Facebook and Instagram, and on my website, blackcomicsuniverse.com.
All right. Last but not least, Moana?
Awesome. You can check the Moana Nui podcast and live stream on Thursdays at 7 and 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And also check out our Kickstarter right now at moanatheauthor.com for the second book in our children's book series, The Adventures of Nakoa and Nohea. It's a story about the shape-shifting legends of Hawaii.
Word. And of course, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those places, you know what I'm saying? Holler at these people, either buy something or subscribe to something or follow something or look, there's so many different, you either following, you subscribing, but make sure to share it. Go to them, find that little button, use your thumb and say share. All right. You know what I'm saying? Share all these people. You know, share it to your mama. Share it to your brother that ain't doing nothing. He just sitting there at home. He ain't doing nothing. Why don't he get up and watch some streams? You know what I'm saying? But with that said, shout out to FSK Day 4. Glad that y'all had us. Big shout out to, you know what, Mike, I need one of those hats.
I'm saying.
Me too.
Mike, you know, see, Mike, I know what it is. He's discriminating against bald-headed brothers. That's what it is. See?
I'm the director of Agents of Nerdy, and I don't even have an Agents of Nerdy shirt.
Oh.
They got people
They are eating without us.
He should be ashamed of himself.
I need to bring this nine.
That's why his mic is muted.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Because I'm not out there.
Those are at-home conversations. We are not going to live on the show. Hey, but thank you guys for coming out, doing on this panel, NERDSoul. Thank you so much for being a moderator, hosting. We'll get you out a hat. Send me your address. We got you.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? I will gladly rep the hat.
We're about to get ready to roll into our next panel, which is the business of making comics. We're getting everybody pinned up for that one. I want to thank my panelists so much. That was a great panel. We'll catch you guys, at the next one.
Thanks, guys. Nice to meet y'all.
Peace.
Chill. I think it's time for me to save the day.